What's going on, guys? I'm Brandon with the TRT community. On today's episode, we're talking injection preference, subcutaneous versus intramuscular.
This is the TRT Community Podcast, where we discuss all things testosterone.
So thank you guys again for the download. Today, it's just me in the studio. And I wanted to talk a little bit, and you'll hear me say this at least for a while these podcasts are new, that this is a hot button topic within the TRT community Facebook group. This is something that guys disagree on often, will most likely never be settled, and I get it. It stirs up a lot of opinions, and that's fine. I just want to do what we do to kind of share a little bit about what I do, my opinions, the opinions of thousands of guys that agree and some that disagree, and that's fine. There's lots of bro science connected to this one. Some of the things that you'll hear, you can never inject an oil base into the subcutaneous tissue. But to be fair, those are often the same guys that are using a 21 gauge 1.5-inch needle that's at the size of my pinky, which, is completely unnecessary. I'm going to make this fairly short today. I'm on the struggle bus. Choked on my breakfast this morning, so my throat hurts. My voice is kind of weird, so just going to pop in, pop out, talk a little bit about sub-Q versus IM. So first, I want to kind of go into what is what, which is which. Sub-Q is subcutaneous. It just means the injection's administered as a bolus into the subcutis, and that's just the layer of skin directly below the dermis and epidermis. So it's just a shallow injection, that's all, into the, most guys just kind of consider it into the fat. I do mine into belly fat. You can go love handles, really, anywhere that's not super muscular. Lean guys just need to use a shorter needle. It can be done. Intramuscular injections obviously go into the muscle. You've got really old school guys that want to go deep muscle, and they are just like, almost touching bone with their 4-inch needles. Some things to consider when you're doing intramuscular injections, over the course of 10 years on TRT, you're poking 500 holes in each muscle that you inject. Larger the needle, the more damage you're causing, you're definitely forming scar tissue. I mean, you are poking holes into the muscle. And a lot of guys use a 22, 23 gauge needle, and it does some damage. So, you can rotate injection sites, but either way, 500 holes into the muscle, period. For me, there's a creep factor. I don't like sticking a needle 3 miles deep into my leg. I want to go as shallow as possible. And, personally, I think the IM only mentality is just kind of old school. The vial may say for IM injections only, your doctor may say for IM injections only, but the research just disagrees. So the sub-Q injection, some of the benefits are that it kind of slows and evens the distribution of T throughout your body. A lot of guys, myself included, once you start those sub-Q injections, you can discontinue the use of an AI. You don't need the aromatase inhibitor anymore because there's not as much aromatization going on. Your E2 levels are not elevated. It also helps when your sex hormone binding globulin is low. More frequent sub-Q injections are more beneficial. On the flip side of that, I've heard a lot of guys get irritation at the injection site, and honestly, the smaller the needle or the larger gauge the needle, the more of a kind of a jet stream effect you may cause. And the reason you're getting irritation is because you're damaging the tissue around the injection site. So if you use, for example, I use a 27 gauge. Some guys use 31 gauges, but it's kind of like the effect you get at a car wash, when you pull the trigger of the pressure washer, it just really shoots out. So you can use a 25 gauge if you need to, and honestly, you could use an even larger needle if you really want to. But to cut down on that irritation, there are things that you can do. You can, like I said, you can use a 25 gauge needle. Don't pinch the skin. You can rub the site afterwards. You can inject slowly. I take a solid 45 seconds to inject, less than half a milliliter. There is research out there. There are a lot of well-known people that recommend sub-Q over IM. In fact, in 2017, the National Center for Biotechnology Information did a study that, and just to summarize the conclusion, sub-Q T injections are an effective, safe, and well-accepted alternative to IM T injections. They're recommended by Testosterone Nation, or T Nation. The late Dr. Chrysler was a leader in the industry. He recommended sub-Q. There's YouTube videos of him actually doing sub-Q on himself. And then bioscience.org has also done studies on daily sub-Q injections, and they're so convinced that sub-Q is the way to go that they're no longer even researching sub-Q versus IM. They're researching sub-Q and then the variables within sub-Q. So all that said, I don't own stock in any insulin syringe company. I don't have a stake in 31 gauge needles, but I do want to see as many guys as possible avoid the long-term effects of these deep intramuscular injections, the scar tissue formation. It's more convenient, sub-Q is. Provides more stable levels, and this is speaking for myself personally, and then again, a lot of guys within the community, more stable levels. A lot of guys don't tolerate it, but the biggest and maybe only complaint I've seen is injection site inflammation. You may get a small bump. Maybe once every 6 weeks I'll get a little bit of irritation, a small red knot. You can just kind of massage it away, within around the injection site. But honestly, it's worth it. If the only benefit was just no more AI, and that alone, that's enough to sell me. Anyway, that's it. On the next episode, I'm going to be talking about an even more controversial topic, and that is TRT and HCG, combining them in the same syringe at the same time.
Thank you for listening to the TRT Community Podcast. You can find us online at facebook.com/groups/TRT Community.